Okay, so what I want to talk about now is the soil preparation for the vertical grow method. We're going to dig a hole and amend the soil, enough for one tomato. So we want to use the cage a little bit as our guide for the diameter of the hole, but it's going to be roughly 18-inch diameter, and that's going to be about right. So there it is, 18 inches. So you can use your tape measure and use the cage as kind of a guide and kind of go around it like that, you know, roughly marking your hole. Doesn't have to be too precise. Let's go around it like that. So now we have a pretty good guide there. We use our cage as a little marker. We'll set it aside. Okay. And then we're going to use two 5-gallon buckets here. Nothing special. There's 5-gallon buckets. You know, get them anywhere. Probably have some in your garage. We're going to use them as measuring devices. So we're just going to dig our hole. We're going to excavate two 5-gallon buckets of soil. Okay. Okay. The soil's not looking too bad. I mean, it's clay, or what they call a loamy silt, I believe. This is going to be a good base for our soil mix. Just kind of pack it down in there. We want to kind of get it as deep as possible. Okay. So now we've excavated two 5-gallon buckets of soil. Our soil is roughly 16 to 18 inches deep, or I should say, I said soil, sorry. The depth of your hole should be anywhere between 16 and 20 inches deep. Can't really go too deep. You know, if you want to make it deeper, you know, that deeper the better. So what I want to do now is, my hole I think is about 18 inches deep. I'm going to take a little compost mix. I'm just going to put it in the bottom of the hole. And then I'm just going to just further loosen up the bottom of the hole. I'm not going to excavate anything. I'm just going to make it a little bit looser down there. So just loosening that up a little bit, like that. And we're just adding some compost down to the bottom of the hole. Okay. So then what I want to do is we're going to get our wheelbarrow. We're going to take one of the 5-gallon buckets of base soil there. And then what I have here is a pile of compost. Now we're just gonna get another 5-gallon bucket of compost here. We're gonna make it heaping. It's gonna be heaping. Well, it's gonna be heaping. This is gonna make it heaping. Do that. That's heaping. Okay. Then we're gonna give it a good kind of a coarse mix here. I'll break up any kind of big dirt clods we might have. So what I want to do now is add the amendments or the fertilizers, I guess, to this to our compost base mix that we just did. What I want to do is add. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of bone meal. It's 1 cup. There's half cup. So again, 1.5 cups of bone meal. So we're just going to scatter that on top like that. Then we're going to add 2.5 tablespoons of triple superphosphate. Organic gardening alert here. If you want to organic garden, leave the triple superphosphate out and double the amount of bone meal. So we're going to do what I like to call a responsible growing method here. So we use some readily available fertilizers, but most of the stuff's organic. That's how I like to do it. So 2.5 tablespoons of triple superphosphate. Sprinkle that on there. 1, 2. And we got our half tablespoon right there. Actually, I got a crappy measuring set here. I'll just guess at 1/2. That's about 1/2 tablespoon, 2.5. What I want you to do is dedicate some of these measuring devices. I don't want you to use the measuring devices, the measuring cups, tablespoons that you use in your kitchen. I want you to buy some stuff. I got these at the dollar store, $1. So it's not the best, but it gets the job done. It's dedicated to the garden, to some fertilizers. Keep it out of the kitchen, keep it in the garden shed. Then I want to add 1/2 cup of agricultural gypsum. So I got my cheap measuring set. There's 1/2 cup. There we go, agricultural gypsum. What the main benefit of the agricultural gypsum is, it is a super fast source of calcium for your tomato, and it could help prevent the blossom end rot that so many people have issues with. I think it's better than the bone meal at preventing that, but we're hedging our bets and we're doing them both. The agricultural gypsum is organic. It's an organic method too. If you're organic gardening, you can use it. And then I want to add 2 cups of the alfalfa pellets. The alfalfa pellets are a source of nitrogen, and I think it's a great all-around soil amender. I really like alfalfa pellets. So 2 cups of alfalfa pellets. Go. Scatter that in there. And they get big too. When they get wet, they just explode. And then we'll just mix all that in. Just give it a really good mix. Just spend a little time mixing that in. Get it really nice and mixed. Break up your base soil chunks. Pull out any sort of big rocks and things in there, and this is going to be a really nice soil mix. Okay, so we have a good mix here. We got our compost in here. We got our base soil. We have our fertilizer amendments. Now I want you to know that if you dig your hole a little bigger, that's no problem. Just try to use these measurements as a guide. If you go bigger, add a little bit more. And this isn't super precise. You know, they're a pretty close guide. So if you think you have really crappy soil and you want to go a little deeper and a little bigger and remove 3, you know, do the simple math and, you know, add the amendments proportionately. So I just want to say that, you know, now what we're going to do is we're going to dump this in the hole. It's ready for the hole. So let's bring it over here and we're going to dump her in the hole. I'm going to fill up that hole Now what I want you to do is tamp it down a little bit. You don't need to jump up and down on it. You're going to get soil compaction. You just did a lot of work to stop that. So just push it down, tamp it down, you know, get any super extra fluff out of there. I mean, step on it lightly. Don't put your full weight on there. You know, just get some weight out of there. Get some weight on there rather. And dump the rest of it in there. So there you go. That's some good looking soil there for our vertical grow method. That's going to get our tomatoes off to a great start. It's going to do more than that. It's going to get them going right through the whole year. Get you a good crop of tomatoes. So now what I want to do with this bucket of soil here, like what the hell are we going to do with that bucket of soil? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do with this bucket of soil. You're going to put it around the hole here. Go around the hole here. I'm gonna kind of break that up. We're gonna make a really good ring here to hold our water in. You can break these up. You know, this happened to be had some more dense clay in it than I initially thought, but that's okay. It's still a good base for growing stuff. Clay is actually, it's nutrient rich. It's really nutrient dense. So don't be afraid of clay. Clay is really a good base for growing stuff. Like I say, it's just really rich in nutrients. What you need to do, if you only do one thing, compost, just add the compost. So that'll fix clay soil. You can't add too much really. I mean, okay, maybe you can, but just add the compost. So there we go. So we got a good basin for a good deep basin for our tomato plant. It's gonna hold in our water. We'll go over that later. Basically that's soil preparation right there. If you want extra credit, you can actually amend that. You can actually amend that second bucket of soil if you want to go to some extra work and do that. That amended ring around there, that amended basin dam type thing you just made, if you amend it like we did the one bucket, that stuff will leach back into the hole and give a lot of nutrients to your tomato plant. It's not necessary, like I say, it's just extra credit. I think it's a good thing to do, but this is minimum right here. We did it. We're ready to plant our tomato. We'll do that in our next video. But I think we got it right there. One other thing, just let me show you this really quick. So now we got our cage. We dug our hole. You know, should really be able to get our cage in. Should really be able to push that in, our 16 and 18 inches, you know, reasonably well. Just work it in there. There we go. It's looking good. You know, you can tap those corners. These are good welds. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to bang on them. You'll probably bend your cage before you break the welds, but you know, when you amend your soil, you stick your cage in pretty easily. So there you go. Cut.
Up in the tree, hear him, what a song.